Lex Ash. You're welcome here. I've been sharing a lot of my work behind the scenes and also my editing work so far. I hope you enjoyed this one as well. This particular shoot I did with the popular Prince Mason. We had a shoot together, and now so the idea was to create together and explore creating some presets for it. But here we are. I just want to quickly show you how I'm going to edit this image. You can check his page as well. He edited an image from the shoot as well, and you can see different styles that we have. So I'm going to be using frequency separation, but I'm going to first color grade this image, and I want you to see how I'm going to do that. I'm not going to use any presets for this, so you're just going to know what color grading an image in Lightroom looks like from the very scratch. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with finding out what works for me, into what the image looks like without any extra. So the first thing I'm going to be doing with this image is to enable profile corrections for the lenses. So this particularly just identifies the lens and corrects any issues that come with those lenses that Lightroom has identified as something that that is an issue with those lenses. And I'm also going to remove chromatic aberration in case there's any I can see or any that I can't see. After doing that, I'm going to just sharpen the image. I usually typically put my sharpening in the very center. That is what I usually do. And then if it's a low light image, sometimes I increase the noise reduction. But for this image, it was well lit. We used a large umbrella hovering over the model, and we just put her to the back just a little bit so the light is feathered across her face. As you can see, it's just giving a very nice soft light on her face, with highlights mostly on the forehead and on the top parts of her body. Yes, so that done, I can now go to the basic editing treatment section, where I think the exposure is good. I'm going to take it up just a little bit just to give that extra oomph, and then I'm going to take the blacks down just so it has a little more contrast. And this is what I usually do. Typically I take the clarity up just a little bit, and also the dehaze in case there's any haze that's caused by the lighting. But yeah, this looks good already. I'm liking what I'm looking at. I'm going to enhance the highlights a bit just so that the contrast is a bit more. Yes, I'm not going to touch the contrast at all. I just really like the image as it is. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the HSL color panel. What I'm doing at the HSL color, because I want this image to be a bit more dramatic, I'm going to change the colors up a little bit. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the saturation of the reds. I know that's usually counterproductive, but just stay with me, okay? And then take the luminance down, so you can see that the red is still there, but it's not as loud or vibrant as it can be. So I'm taking the saturation down, but then taking down the luminance, so the red is still dark and punchy, but not overly bright and distracting. Then another thing I usually do with my saturation, with my HSL color panel, is that I take the saturation of the browns down. I personally have this belief that typical camera settings don't necessarily have a nice color and feel of black skin. So I just usually take saturation down, take the luminance down a little bit, just to not to allow the saturation of the skin to be too loud or unflattering. So this is what it looked like before, and this is what it looks like right now. This is what it looked like before, and what it looks like right now. What it looks like right now. Now, if you notice, the background is gray, but I kind of feel like there's a little bit of blue in it. Let me show you what that looks like. So I use SIP to manage my colors. If you've never heard of it, you should check it out, definitely. So if you hover over it, you see that it's a shade of blue. As you can see it's saying Haiti blue charcoal. Can you see that? So that's like the major color in the background. So so I want to enhance that blue a little bit, so I'm going to go to my blues and enhance it a little bit. Can you see that? But then I don't want it to be this purpley blue. I want it to have like a teal-ish look. That's one thing that if you notice my pictures, there's a consistency around. So I like that teal-ish blue. Can you see that? I like it, and I'm just going to do the same to enhance the teal, and then take it towards the blue a little bit. And yes, this is what it looked like before, what it looks like now. I really like this. Perfect. Yes. So the next thing I'm going to do is I want to add a little bit more color to the mid-tone. So I'm going to take this up slightly. As you can see, I'm just moving it around, adding a little bit more punch to her skin. I know this does not look flattering, so just bear with me. Just keep in mind that we're getting somewhere, okay? So we can just take it up and reduce it, depending on how and what works for us. So I'm just going to keep it right about here, very subtle, very unintrusive. This is what before, this is what it looks like right now. And for the highlights, I want to add a little bit of blue to it, so I'm gonna take it towards blue. Yeah, and that's where we go. And then to the shadows, like these areas, I'm going to add some more blue, but just a little bit. So that's a bit too much. Take it back down. Yeah, this is too much. Let's say this. And yeah, it's looking interesting. It's not necessarily where I want it yet, but it's getting there. Maybe I'll take this down a little bit because this is the luminance of the shadows. So let me come here and take the blending up to reduce the intensity of some of these things. So here we go, balance to a shadow, balance to a highlight. No, actually, let me take this towards. This looks interesting. I'm gonna reduce it slightly. There we go. And it's kind of eliminated the blues that I want, but I actually don't mind. Let's look at it. So yeah, this is what my process looks like. Sometimes I'm just thinking about what could possibly work and what doesn't. But yeah, I think this is fine for me. I took it back to 0. Let me take it towards blue a little bit more. And yeah, and there we go. This looks nice to me. I really like it. Yeah, and then from here, let me see if there's anything else I'd like to change. I do not want a vignette, but that would be nice too. You can look at it. It's not so bad, but I don't want one. I can always put it after, same for grain. And yes, let me see what this does for me. It's not bad. And yeah, I think this is good for me. This is what I like. Let's see what it looked like before and after. So here we go. This is it. The colors are still intact. There's a little bit of extra teal in the background, just so that I can play around with that much later. But yeah, that's what this is. This is what I'm going for, and I really like it. Yeah, let's take it into Photoshop now, so we can clean up all the things that we don't really want at all, and clean up with the skin and everything. Just a little bit before we go there, I think I want to take down the saturation of the skin a little bit more. There we go. There we go. So right now it has a little bit more warmth than I'd like. Yeah, there. And then this needs to come down just a little bit. And yeah, I like it like this. And then we can go into Photoshop. Command E. Alright, we're here in Photoshop and we are about to start retouching. The first thing I'm going to do is take off this line and this, and I'm going to use the, what's it called again? this tool. And yeah, very simple. Click, select the area you want to adjust, and then just drag to a clean area, and then we're good to go. There we go, there we go. Anything else? There we go. Anything else? There we go. And we have a good start, right? We have a good start. The next thing, I'm going to be using advanced frequency separation action. I don't want to have to go through the process of creating the advanced frequency separation process anymore. I don't have to do that, for efficiency and effectiveness. So she's much further in the frame, so I'm going to go down to like about a 5 or a 4 point something. 4.5 looks good to me. I say okay. And on the low frequency layer, I'm going to be using my mixer brush as usual, and I'm going to start blending, making sure that the highlights are where they are, the shadows are where they are, and then I want to fill this place a little bit more with some highlight just to even that place up, because it looks a bit darker than it should be. And so that's what it looks like. It's just that small stuff I just did. This is difference. Very, very cool. And then here, evening this place out, evening the transition between the midtones and the shadows and the highlights. That's all I'm doing right now with the mixer brush tool. If you want to learn more about using the mixer brush tool, you can just drop a comment below, and I'll try and treat it in a future video. But yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward. Just evening out the highlights and the transitions between the highlights and the shadows. I'm going to speed this pace up just so that you don't have to watch me do all of it. Again, don't forget to clean the chest area and keep it consistent in texture. Some people forget to do that, so. By the way, if you want to see the behind the scenes of this shoot, you can go check Prince Mason's YouTube channel. You can see how we set up the lights, how the entire shoot went, the previous images we worked on. Yeah, definitely you can check his page. You'll see some very cool, fun setup and information there about how this whole shoot came to be and what the plan is with everything that we're doing. Yeah, so right now, as you can see, I'm smoothing the outfit to remove all the wrinkles and squeezes that come with it. Yeah, but as you can see, I'm doing it on the low frequency layer to preserve the texture of the outfit, and I'm not overdoing it. I'm still keeping like some of the curves there just so that it feels natural and the texture is consistent and the dress looks like it's actually a dress that was made. But for things that kind of disfigure the outfit a little bit, I take them out. Right now, I'm just removing the blemishes on the face. And just things that would normally not be there. Sometimes I wonder whether to remove smile lines, but I kind of think that the smile lines are usually enhanced by makeup, so many a times I take them out. So right now I'm using the clone stamp too, by the way. I think we are good to go. I really like this, and yes, so a little thing I do just to kind of add a bit of finishing to my work, I use portraiture on the low frequency layer in a very mild way. So I have my presets already. That's a bit of an adjustment on something that is consistently there. So if you have portraiture, it's already there, and see how I keep it only on the low frequency layer, so it's not affecting the texture at all. And yeah, there you go. I have my image, and at this point I just merge, and I think we are good to go. But I think one thing I want to try and do is maybe I want to try to change the background, so you see how I change backgrounds in images. So the first thing I'm going to do is to select the subject. Photoshop has amazingly found a way to create something that makes it so much easier than it's ever been ever, and so it's just like very easy, very straightforward, and sometimes all you need to do is just add the parts that it misses, which is usually rare and not problematic to do at all. For example, I'm just gonna add this pearls, and I'm just use J to add it. Yeah, there we go. There we go. I'm just clean it up a little bit, and then the same thing here. Okay. Yeah, just add some finishing touches. There we go. Perfect. Just check to see that everything is in place. I think I like this selection. Let me add these a little bit more. Some outstanding body part. There we go. Yeah, I think this should be fine with the little feathering. Yeah. Command J. So Command J separates your selection from the rest of the image. I'm going to now also reselect it, and when I reselect it, I will now separate the background from it. And go to background, Command J. So right now, as you can see, we have the background separate, we have the image separate, the model separate. So I can go online and go to Google and see, maybe search for a texture. I'm going to search for a nice vintage texture. Anyone is fine. And I'm going to go to images and then search for Creative Commons licenses and the stuff that's large, just so that I find something that is big enough for. There are many ways to do this, to be honest, so you can just find what works for you and proceed with that. I currently already have some on my computer, so I'm not going to have to go through all of this stress, but just in case you want to find, you can definitely find some there. And yeah, for this one I'm just going to expand this just a little bit. Now of course it looks weird, so just hold on we are going to blend it. We're going to blend it using maybe overlay. As you can see, that's beautiful already. And I'm going to reduce the intensity, the opacity. And yeah, I really like this. What you think? Please feel free to comment and like and share. Don't forget to subscribe as well. And yeah, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit just so you see how clean, how neat, how the textures are just fitting in perfectly. And yeah, I think I am satisfied. Perfect. I can merge all of them, and yes, we can save it. So that is how I retouch and color grade my images. I'm going to save it, and it saves back into Lightroom, and from there I export my images. That's it. This is what it looks like editing with Lexash. This is what it looks like retouching with Lexash. I hope you learned a few things. If you have any questions, please don't forget, you can just drop them below and I'm going to answer them. I'm going to if it's something I need to treat and teach specifically on, I'm going to literally just create something for that. I hope you really enjoyed this session. Thank you so much again for watching. You can see what it looked like from the beginning. And now let's go back to this. This is before, after color grading, before color grading, after color grading, and then after skin retouching and a little bit extra work. And there you have it. I hope you really enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time, it's your boy Lexash.